Well, I'll go ahead with an introduction.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming. I'm your city clerk, Megan Hasselshire. So I'm so glad to see so many people here and to have our candidates. Just a couple quick reminders. Ballots go out on Monday. Some of you or a lot of you will have your ballot in your mailbox on Monday. Know that we have three 24/7 ballot box drop-offs. One here, one at City Hall that's moved slightly. It's now next to the park bench because we had a lot of dogs that thought it looked like a nice place to do their business. And then we have one over on Broadway next to the Walgreens. This will be an 11-day vote center for us, and we'll have a 4-day vote center at City Hall. And as always, we have our own I voted stickers. So I encourage you to stop by the community center or City Hall to get stickers that were designed by our local students. I approached Mark about hosting this tonight. Mark at the mic, if you don't know, he does an excellent podcast about some of our local community members. And he, of course, was our friendly face for years, if not decades, at Molly Stone's. So he's a local treasure that we are now taking advantage of. So
Great.
without any further ado, Mark.
Thank you, Megan. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's City Council Candidate Forum. My name is Mark Lucchese, also known as Mark at the mic. And along with our city clerk, Megan Hasselshire, we're excited to introduce the 4 candidates running to represent District 2 of Burlingame. Tonight, each candidate will have the opportunity to share their priorities, plans, and ideas with you as we look ahead to the important decisions that will shape our community. Before I introduce this evening's candidates, I've got a few ground rules. Each candidate will have 3 minutes for an opening statement. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to answer each question, and the time limits will be strictly adhered to. Our city clerk, Megan, is the official timekeeper this evening. We have prepared questions, but we also encourage questions from our audience, and I have some up here already, and of course, the folks watching from Zoom. So why don't we go ahead and welcome our candidates this evening in alphabetical order: Nirmala Bandrapalli, Hadia Corey, Rachel Nee, and Desiree Thayer. I'm going to kind of do these questions to each candidate in random order.
Can we start with opening?
What's that? Oh, thank you. I knew I was stealing the show. May we have some opening statements, and we'll go in alphabetical order, starting with Nirmala.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nirmala Bandrapalli, and I am deeply honored to share my vision for our wonderful city with you. Burlingame has become a place I call home. For more than 2 decades, my husband and I have raised our 3 children here on Meadow Lane, all of whom have attended or attending public schools. Professionally, I have more than 25 years of work experience in technology, business, and finance. Working as a program manager at Genentech, Kaiser, UCSF, Meta, and Gilead Sciences has equipped me with the skills to meet the challenges we face as a city. As a chairman of the Burlingame Planning Commission, I work to increase our commission's efficiency and effective governance. I served as a president of the San Mateo County Commission on the Status of Women, and while president, our commission worked to improve the quality of life for women in 20 cities and brought awareness of mental health issues. I was honored to be the first woman of color to serve as president of the Burlingame Lions Club, serving community projects. From supporting local schools on 3 school site councils to spearheading initiatives for emergency preparedness, I've dedicated myself to serving the needs of our community. A few of my community contributions are: I collaborated with City Council, school district, and neighbors to secure a crossing guard in El Camino Real and Ray Drive, which significantly improved student safety. I streamlined IT processes for the Burlingame Community of Education and chaired fundraising events for several years. I led Leo's Club members in surveying sidewalks for 2-inch cracks on El Camino Real and reported to Public Works to fix them. While my kids were going to school, I served as Girl Scout leader and AVA SOT mom. During my campaign for City Council, I knocked on over 2,000 doors and hosted listening sessions to learn the issues that matter most. As dedicated public servant, I worked tirelessly for Burlingame, understanding the issues that matter most to you because they matter to me too. Whether it is maintaining the charm of our neighborhood, speeding cars in neighborhood, addressing traffic congestion on California Drive, people leaving their cars and taking off to airport, parking in downtown, fostering relationship between seniors and youth to combat loneliness and promote mental health, not much green space accessible to our beloved pets. I'm committed to tackling these issues and challenges head on. I pledge to keep lines of communication open and prioritize your voices in every decision made for our city. Thank you for your time.
Hadia.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mike. My name is Hadia Khouri, and I have been a successful business owner in downtown Burlingame for over 25 years, resident and a single mother for 10 years. 2 years ago, I was elected as a beautification commissioner, and this is where I sit, for Burlingame by Burlingame City Council and lovely mayor. This background has taught me strong work ethics and perseverance. It has given me ability to come up with innovative solutions that are highly impactful. I also mastered the art of stretching a dollar, and I believe I can bring the same energy to the office of the city council. I'm also a great negotiator. We have lots of projects that need state funding and federal funding, including Broadway Grade Separation Project, which is the second most dangerous intersection in the country. I will make sure that we are not only able to get the funds that are required, but I will also negotiate the best pricing for the project. I was able to do the same for Burlingame Avenue tree lighting. I was told that the lights on the avenue cannot be done. I used my skills to get a great price, and I also showed my cross-organizational skills by convincing different departments in our city to get on board. With a limited budget, I was not only able to get the lights up on the trees, but also keep them permanently. The lights are not only a beautiful addition, but also they bring tons of visitors and business to our downtown. I have true passion for Burlingame and admiration to its architecture, but I always felt that something was missing that led me to volunteer my time planting flowers all over Primrose Avenue, the main entrance of Burlingame by Walgreens and El Camino, and around downtown and more. The businesses in Burlingame started to contact me to do the same. Since then, I have done the planting for Mykonos, Café Figaro, Mediterranean Kitchen, Trapeze, Grapevine, and many, many more. My efforts have been recognized by our city council, which is why I was elected as a beautification commissioner for Burlingame. As a beautification commissioner, I have been fortunate to be involved in many decisions for our city and work closely with our councils and engineers and mayor. I have attended in the past 2 years every council meeting and economic development subcommittee meeting. I know all the issues we have, and I believe if I were elected to the office, I will be able to work efficiently from day one, and I will be ready for the seat. Just like me, both my daughters chose to have Burlingame for their businesses. They both went to Burlingame High School and Burlingame Middle School. My family and I are very thankful to the support that we have been given by the people of this great community. And now it is my turn to give back. Together with your vote for me, we can create a better Burlingame for generations to come.
Rachel.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Rachel Nee, and I want to start by sharing a little bit about my background. I was born and raised in Taiwan, where my mother was an elementary school teacher and my dad was a small business owner. My love for Burlingame began in 2002 when I moved to the Bay Area. For many years, I was a renter, and in 2013, we purchased our first home. Fast forward to today, I've had the privilege of working in this community for over 20 years. Now, I finally call Burlingame home. And I'm deeply involved in what makes this city special. Beyond my work, I serve as a board member on the Downtown Burlingame Business Improvement District, where we organize community events such as Wine Walk. We funded the tree lighting on Burlingame Avenue and upcoming Fall Fest. The Burlingame Rotary, where we support local community, I also serve on the Broadway Specific Planning Committee. And I'm honored to be an ambassador for the Burlingame Chamber of Commerce. I'm running for City Council because I believe Burlingame's potential to grow while maintaining our quality of life. My campaign is focused on ensuring safety, improving infrastructure, creating pathway to homeownership for renters, protecting property rights, supporting local businesses, and expanding programs that engage youth and seniors, combating isolation, fostering an inclusive environment where all generations can thrive. My endorsements include officials, school board trustee, local businesses, neighbors, and friends. Together, we can build a brighter future for our city. I'm committed to make Burlingame an even better place to live, work, shop, and play. Thank you.
Desiree?
Thank you to the organizers and thank you all for coming. I was born and raised in Michigan by a nurse and a General Motors factory worker. I then moved to California and earned a PhD before moving to the Bay Area 18 years ago. 9 years ago, I made Burlingame home with my partner, John. I'm a scientist and educator. I manage partnerships worldwide between academia, biopharma, and tech companies to bring new medicines to patients in need. My work involves a mix of scientific, technical, legal, and financial expertise. All of these will serve me well on City Council. Outside of work, I spend my free time in our community. For 8 years, I've volunteered with the Citizens Environmental Council of Burlingame. With the CEC chair and Burlingame's sustainability manager, we started a high school program that has expanded as the Youth Climate Ambassadors Leadership Program. The program has over 250 graduates, and we start year 6 tomorrow with 56 new students from across the county. At the county level, I'm serving a 3rd term as a board-appointed member of Peninsula Clean Energy's Community Advisory Committee. I served as chair from 2019 to 2021, when the committee initiated a diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion statement and policy. I've also served on subcommittees for building electrification, strategic planning, and renewable energy resources for disadvantaged communities. In the District 2 race, I stand out as the only candidate with endorsements from current and former Burlingame City Council members and school district trustees, as well as Congressman Kevin Mullen and former State Senator Jerry Hill. These endorsements were not given lightly. I had to earn each one. I met with each council member, trustee, and commissioner who has endorsed me, and they decided I'm the best candidate, that I'm prepared, know the issues, and will work professionally with colleagues, city staff, and residents. I also have endorsements from the San Mateo County Labor Council, the Sierra Club, and the San Mateo Daily Journal. The other endorsement I have is from our community. The latest finance statements show that 84% of my campaign donations are from Burlingame residents. The other candidates don't pass 40%. This grassroots support is because residents see I'm prepared, thoughtful, and committed to serve. They also see that I have breadth and depth of knowledge about our city from attending council meetings regularly for the past 2 years. Burlingame residents know how impactful local government is in our daily lives, and they want my know-how and leadership as their public servant. I will lead by seeking community input, listening to all voices, and finding data-informed solutions. I will work hard for District 2 and all of Burlingame for a livable, safe, and vibrant community. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for your introduction. And thank you for being timely, as we would like to maybe wrap this up no later than 7:30 this evening. Desiree Thayer, I'll begin the questions with you. How do you feel the city can do a better job of supporting local business?
I think the city can do a better job of supporting local businesses by especially working on the Broadway specific plan. I think this is key for District 2, and since I'm running for the District 2 seat, I really think we need to bring in input of not only the residents, but the local business owners and the building owners that exist on Broadway. We really want to make sure that those local businesses feel supported and that they have better business. I've heard from some of them that we really need to bring more foot traffic to Broadway in order for their businesses to flourish. And so I think if we can work that into a Broadway specific plan where we can encourage safe walking and biking in the area and also try to bring people from the hotels over to Broadway to the restaurants to support those businesses, that will really be able to help flourish those local businesses in that area.
Thank you. Rachel Nee?
Yes, I serve on the Broadway Specific Planning Committee, and I'm also working on the DBIT and chambers. So I think there's a lot of things we can do to bring business to downtown or to Broadway. Public transportation, our infrastructure, and we can work with the chamber and the DBIT, work on the hotels, maybe have some plans to bring business over to the downtown area.
Thank you. Hadia Corey?
This is a big thing for me about promoting businesses and supporting businesses, actually talking about endorsements. Almost every business endorsed my campaign. First, connecting with the Chamber of Commerce. I've done a great job. I have been doing, and I will continue whenever we have a new business or an anniversary for a business. I tend to send an email connecting the Chamber of Commerce president, inviting them to host an annual reception and invite every business from San Mateo as well, letting other mayors, councils, everybody come so we can let them know of the business. Another option would be connecting with the hotels, especially for Broadway, having like a menu at every hotel for every business or advertising for the businesses, having transportation from the hotel to Broadway, events. I'm focusing more on Broadway because I feel Broadway is a little bit neglected and it needs to be elevated and revamped. Helping the businesses also with the grant.
Okay, great. Nirmala Pandropali?
We do have a Broadway specific plan, and I think the city is currently working on it. And so definitely we would love to see more, multi-use developments where we have residents on the top floors and the business on the bottom. And I would love to launch a Buy Burlingame campaign to encourage residents to shop locally, emphasizing the community benefits of supporting local businesses. And I also develop a mobile app or like an interactive website showcasing our local businesses, their offerings, and offer special promotions. And it's important for the city to strengthen the economic development efforts of our businesses by conducting regular surveys of local businesses to identify challenges and opportunities for growth. We need to give them, easy permits and help them improve their storefronts and have some events so that people come and then, buy food at the local businesses. I think the city could do a lot more, by giving loans.
Thank you, Nirmala. I'm going to take a question from the audience because I don't want to forget it. And I thought I would just do it now and we can move on. So Rachel Nee, this will start with you. I believe Burlingame has the highest percentage of renters in the county of any city. What have you done or hope to achieve for our renter population?
Okay, the renter we're gonna have more renters because there are 2,400 planned development and only less than 200 are for sale. So what I've done is, luckily I'm in real estate. I work with all the renters, home buyers, and home sellers. And I enjoy working with every single one of them to find a place they can call a home. So no matter if it's this renter, whether it's renter or the homeowners, I think we all need to support each other and to support local business, make our area thrive.
Thank you. Hadia Corey?
As we all know, we have Measure T in the San Mateo County. Rent control has been voted for San Mateo County. And I know there's been some negotiation and there's been some, it was proposed to have for anyone that is evicted 3 months free rent. That helps the renters. We have 52% renters in Burlingame, which I thought was a lot more than owners. What we could do for renters to help renters, is that what you're saying? To help the renters to improve transportation, more public better public transportation. Right now, I can't think. I do have ideas for renters, but I have done a lot to help with sidewalks, reporting issues that I see, talk to landlords.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Nirmala?
As Hadia said, we have Measure T, so we have to repeal it to take any action for renters. We can't have rent control. But the city can implement policies to protect renters and provide additional support, like maybe consider adopting rent stabilization measure to limit annual rent increases. They can strengthen just cause eviction protections to prevent unfair displacement of tenants. They can also establish a rental assistance program for low-income residents facing temporary financial hardships. And they also can create a tenancy advocacy office to provide legal advice and mediation services for landlord-tenant disputes. And I think we can definitely, Burlingame can do a better inform renters about their rights and available resources. Host regular workshops on tenant rights, fair housing laws, and available assistance programs, and develop a comprehensive online resource guide specifically for renters in Burlingame.
Thank you, Nirmala. Hadia,
Desiree.
what are your priorities?
If I have more time.
Oh,
I'd
see, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for raising that hand, Desiree.
So the most important thing we can do to help renters in Burlingame is to build more housing. So we know there's a housing crisis in the state and also in the region, and we need to get more supply on the market in order to ensure that renters are not priced out of their existing housing. The other thing we can do is preserve our naturally affordable housing stock. So these are those smaller multifamily units that we see on El Camino Real and also in the downtown Broadway and downtown Burlingame areas. We can help preserve those by helping the landlords perhaps with retrofitting for seismic upgrades or also quality of life. We could help them with installation of insulation or helping them with electrification or EV charging stations, other things to really make sure that those units are sustainable and can be still at an affordable price for those who live there.
Thank you. Thank you, Desiree, and thank you for my little faux pas there. So, okay. Hadia, what are your priorities for improving transportation and reducing traffic in Burlingame?
Housing. When we build our housing is have it in an area next to public transportation. We are actually working right now on building 3,000 units by public transportation in North Rollins Road, which I appreciate we're not having it in the downtown to relieve congestion, which also help people that work in Burlingame, our first responders, our police, our teachers, be able to live in Burlingame and not have to travel far, because that would relieve the congestion of the traffic.
Thank you. Nirmala?
So how do we improve
I'll repeat it for you.
Could you please?
What are your priorities for improving transportation and reducing traffic in Burlingame?
Yeah, it is really, really important. Currently, our district too is very much impacted by the traffic congestion on California Drive. I mean, people are driving on the side street, going at 40 miles per hour. It's really impacted the quality of life of all residents, I would say most residents in District 2. And that's why I'm running for Burlingame City Council to improve the traffic, to improve the transportation. We need more public transportation services. We have bike lanes northbound, but southbound, we need to be careful, because we need to ensure that I support bicycles, I support pedestrian pathways properly, and we need proper signaling. The real-time signaling systems, we need to follow those so that they can control the traffic so that everything moves smoothly. And that's one way to improve. And transit-oriented development is the key. When we have transit-oriented development, then people don't need cars. They can just stay close to the BART station and they can take the BART. So those are the things that we need to make available to public.
Thank you. Desiree?
So I think we need to support improving our public transportation system. I actually lived for Burlingame for 5 years without a car and relied on public transportation. And I'm fully aware of how difficult it is to get around on Samtrans and Caltrain only. And so we need to increase the frequency of those modes of transportation. We should also look at bringing back the shuttles or the trolley within Burlingame. This was a great connector between Broadway, downtown Burlingame, and the hotels. And like South San Francisco, who has 3 new shuttles that go east-west across their city, maybe there's other routes that would make sense in Burlingame in order to bring people from the hills and those areas down to the downtown areas. We also should look at our continuing with the bicycle and pedestrian master plan. I mean, there are so many trips that we can do locally on bike or by foot that can avoid the use of single drivers and cars. And we also need to continue pushing for full funding of the Broadway grade separation. A lot of the traffic that we see on California is due to that intersection.
Thank you. Rachel?
Okay. Public transportation is the most important thing what we need to work on. We have a transportation, the north-south, but the east-west definitely need improvement. Hotel trolleys is funded by the DBIT, chambers, and the hotels. Unfortunately, our hotels are just not in place. Their business has went down drastically since the COVID, so they are not going to bring the trolley back anytime soon. So we need to work more on the public fundings to find a better transportation for all.
Thank you. This will be directed to Nirmala. The city is making progress on its climate action plan. Please tell us what you know about this work and ideas to advance these goals.
You know, our Burlingame City, let me tell you, is actually #1 in the county. They've done amazing work on the climate action. We are leaders, actually, I could say. But of course, there's always room for improvement. The city prepared first cap in 2009 to address the greenhouse gas emissions and implemented multiple programs to significantly reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. In 2020, the city achieved its goal of reducing the greenhouse emissions to 15% below city's 2005 baseline. By 2030, goal to reduce annual GHG emissions by 40% from 1990 levels, 20 GHG reduction measures to address built environment, transportation, energy, water, wastewater, waste, and municipal emissions. Of course, there is a lot we can do to address the climate action plan. The village at Burlingame affordable housing and parking structure, you know, that actually has 132 affordable units on.
Thank you. Desiree?
So for those of you who aren't aware, the whole purpose of the climate action plan is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions within the city. Prior to the climate action plan, the biggest producer of greenhouse gas emissions was electricity. And thanks to Peninsula Clean Energy, we've also almost zeroed that out. All the energy that's coming to our homes and businesses now is greenhouse gas free. So the next work that needs to be done is on transportation, buildings, and also waste. And so there are efforts, as a lot of us know, to electrify our transportation. EVs are becoming more and more popular. And in the city's climate action plan, they have EV chargers in place to enable that shift to electric vehicles. The city has also been working with Peninsula Clean Energy on electrification of buildings. This building we're in right here, Net Zero Energy. It's a great example to our community of what can be done. And the next step is to get homeowners on board. As your gas water heater burns out, it's time for a heat pump water heater. So those are incentives that we can help residents make.
Thank you. Rachel?
Thank you. So with the climate action, the goal is 2030. They try to electrify all housings as well. So what we really need to work on is getting the infrastructure, PG&E, to work on their infrastructure. Because like I mentioned last time, my own home, I just tried to change it from 100 amp to 200 amp. It took almost 7 months to do so. And their infrastructure is not ready to support.
Thank you. Did I cycle through that okay? Thank you.
Hadia,
think
sorry.
Hadia, thank you. It's just an age thing. Okay. You'll all get there someday. Thank you,
About
Norm.
sustainability.
Thank you, Hadia.
Our city is doing a great job on climate initiative and regarding emissions. We are on our way to reducing emissions by 40%, like everyone said, by 2030. If I were to be elected, I will work to speed up the process. We already have that plan of meeting state mandate sustainability goals, and I will do with our limited budget. And I will also find new ways for generating revenue that would help toward this goal. San Mateo County has switched to clean energy, which has helped with reducing our emission for our city. Ideas I would have collaborate with our county and other cities to find solution. I would partner with Peninsula Clean Energy, one shoreline organization that's already working on it. Increase solar. We have SunShare has a discount for anyone that want to switch to solar. I will support new developments for staying 100 feet away from the bay and 17 feet up. This is the new mandate for any new builders.
Thank you. Okay, I did cycle through that, correct? Okay, all right. Desiree, I'm coming back to you. What specific plans, what specific steps would you take to address the growing affordability crisis in Burlingame?
So to address the affordability crisis, one, I would say again, we need to build more housing. I mean, the biggest cost for most people is their housing. So we need to make sure that we help with the housing crisis that we have in the Bay Area. The second one is to really to support buying locally with the businesses here. If we can keep more of the money within Burlingame, that will support more of the services that we're able to provide to residents, especially those who are feeling a little tight on cash and not being able to make ends meet. Yeah, I think that's all.
Thank you. Rachel?
Yes. I love what you said. I would love to support local businesses. We have lots of residents live and work here, and the better we support local businesses, the more money is in their pocket. So that's one of the top priority. And we also can find different programs. We have the Dream for All. We did have $125 million, but it's gone within a couple months. So we need to work on try to bring some more of the programs back in our area in California, and then to support the renters to become homeowners as well.
Thank you. Hadia?
First thing I would do, we have a treasure. We have the bay, the waterfront. That will bring such an economic development to our city. Revamp the water area. It's dark at night. If we want to go walk, we end up going to the city to San Francisco because we want to be by the water. We don't have to spend so much money to light up the Bay Trail, put lights, solar lighting, some greenery, trees, flowers, bring businesses, bring restaurants to the water. That will help also Broadway. Housing also for our first responders, teachers. We lost 3 teachers in one of the schools in Burlingame because they cannot afford to live here and commute from Fremont or East Bay, which also will reduce congestion. This will have everybody spend their money in Burlingame. Not only that they will be making money in Burlingame, they will be living in Burlingame and spending it in Burlingame, and it will all circulate and help our businesses. All of this can be a great economic development for Burlingame and will make us be a destination.
Thank you. Nirmala?
We could do a lot. We could actually, think about the zoning. The zoning, the industrial zoning change to residential that we have already done on Rawlings Road, and our housing element looks really good. We have almost state mandates over 3,500 affordable units to be constructed, and we've already either approved or in the process of approval of more than 2,000. And I think that's really good. And then I think we should encourage homeowners to build more ADUs or convert existing structures like garages into living spaces. And I think we should streamline the permitting process for ADUs to make it easier for homeowners to add these units. And also we should, of course, preserve our existing affordable housing too. That's develop the programs to preserve older, naturally, affordable housing in it. That's important. And we should also consider using funds from a development impact fee that we collected, about $7 million. And we should continue, I think from another 7 million will be collected. I think that would goes towards affordable housing for teachers and for
That's
the
great.
employees.
Thank you.
You got them all.
Most of the, I'll start with Desiree. No, I'll start with Rachel, excuse me. Most of the candidates running say that safety is a great concern to them. What sort of initiatives need to be put in place to make Burlingame a safer place?
I believe improving infrastructure is one of the top priority. So right now they are working very well. They are working on the sidewalk, and planning is very important. As we see, California Drive is not on top of everybody's list. I think before we work on any infrastructure improvement, what we can do is doing a mock improvement. So we can block the street, like just say for a week, and to see how the traffic evaluation goes. And then we can have a better idea if it's a good idea to do it or not, to spend that money. It's all our tax dollars.
Thank you. Hadia?
The first project we have that I would focus on is Broadway grade separation. As we know, we don't have the funding for it yet. And as I said earlier, I will do my best to advocate for this on a state and federal level. But in the meantime, are we going to keep our kids and elderly and youth, everybody unsafe? We need to take a decision on what we could do right now until we get the funding. And that is by painting that intersection a bright color, so people, when they arrive there, they can tell. Right now, you can't tell the difference between the street and the train intersection. Having a camera, that ticketing camera, just like what happened on Millbrae Avenue. Everybody got tickets there and they don't anymore as much. So having a ticketing camera for anyone that tries to cross when they're not supposed to, and having maybe a traffic officer standing there to make sure that people are stopping where they should stop, but mainly painting it red. El Camino Real, very unsafe. There's a project for El Camino Real.
Thank you. Nirmala?
Traffic safety has been a major concern in our district because of the traffic congestion on California Drive. People have been driving at 40 miles per hour on all the streets. Paloma, you could call it Laguna, Cappuccino, you name it, on Rosedale, all the streets. We need to control street calming measures. That is so important because nowadays everybody drives Tesla and it is so calm. We don't know what's behind you if you're going on the bike. And this kid safety is so important. And I will, take this challenge to ensure our streets are safe. Our sidewalks are safe. We are proper lighting in every neighborhood. Some neighborhoods have lights are gone and, they're not fixed yet. So these are the things. And of course, public and the neighborhood watch out, the national night out, where you bring the police and the community together to talk about the safety. Very important. Continue to do that. I would do that and at least twice a year so that we build the partnership between the police and the public. And those are the safety things I would work on.
Thank you. Desiree?
So for me, safety means two things: safe streets and safe homes. So regarding streets, we know the ECR, the El Camino Real renewal project is coming. I think this is very, very important to improve that major artery that goes through our city. The sidewalks are unsafe there. There's flooding. It's difficult to have vision when you're coming out of driveways and cross streets. So I think that's one very important thing, along with supporting the Broadway grade separation. But we also need to ensure that we follow the bicycle and pedestrian master plan, and also put in place our Vision Zero. So I'm glad that the city got a $480,000 grant from the Department of Transportation in order to support Vision Zero. And as far as safe homes, I really love to encourage the community mindedness that we have in the city. When asking the police chief, why has crime come down? He says, I don't actually know, but I think it's because we have a tight-knit community and people look out for each other, and we need to continue that.
Thank you. Okay, This next question will be to start with. Burlingame has rezoned both North Rollins Road and the Bayfront to promote economic diversity, which will bring more people to the city. What would you propose to develop more economic opportunities that support the needs of residents, workers, and visitors as the base grows?
I think the affordable housing should be measured on the income of our first responders, teachers, and service people that we have living in the city, and police. I think the amount of rent in Burlingame compared to their income is not equal, is not fair. We need to find a solution for that where we can make affordable housing based on their budget. And this way we can have them stay here and spend their money here and enjoy what we enjoy. We are building 3,000 units of affordable housing on Rollins Road, and it is near transportation, which will save people money on transportation. I think this will help our economy as well.
Thank you. Nirmala?
Would you please repeat that question, Mark?
Sure. Burlingame has rezoned both North Rollins Road and the Bayfront to promote economic diversity, which will bring more people to the city. What would you propose to develop more economic opportunities that support the needs of residents, workers, and visitors as the base grows?
So we have about 265 units multi-use at the Adrian Court and 302 units at 30 Ingle Road, 420 mixed-use units at 1855 Rollins Road. So the city has already been working on the housing element and strategically planned to support the economic growth in our city. And Bayfront, we have 1 million square feet that is for research, for R&D, for restaurants, and all of those will bring economic growth. And of course, affordable housing is also part of that. And I see the city is already planning on, encouraging businesses, improving the permitting process, especially if you have how many square feet, X number of square feet, your permitting process will be done in 1 month. So that's something like that. They have provisions. The city has come up with those provisions like that. So we need to encourage more businesses. We need to encourage easy permitting processes for businesses.
Thank you. Desiree?
So in regards to North Rollins, I think we need to provide resources and services to the new residents that are coming there, and also continue to support the southern end of North Rollins. So only the north 1/3 has been rezoned as mixed use, where the southern 2/3 is remaining with some of the warehouses and industrial use. And we really need to ensure that we, support the street, that upgrades to the street and other areas, so that those businesses can flourish. In regards to out on the Bayfront, we just need to continue doing development there in a smart way. We have office buildings and biospace coming, and we can probably have more as well, but we just need to do it in a way that there's benefits brought to the public as well. Like in one of the projects, the Bay Trail is going to be connected. There's going to be public access spaces. So we need to ensure that the developers, as they're developing that area, that there are benefits to our community in that open space area that so many of us enjoy.
Thank you. Rachel?
Okay, so I believe the city needs to work on further on the rezoning the area. There are buildings being built and business being built, but we also need to work on the restaurants and shopping district and to support. And with the shopping district, we can bring people from SFO and to come to stay in our hotel. Forget about San Francisco. Here it goes, Burlingame.
Great. Thank you. I'm going to take a question from the audience and correct me if I'm wrong. Am I starting with Nirmala? I think I am, right? Yeah, I thought so. Good. Okay. Okay, this is a question from the audience. The city has indicated it has several major unfunded infrastructure needs, such as upgrading or replacing City Hall. In terms of financing these projects, issuing general obligation bonds would be disproportionately place the tax burden on newer property owners. What other forms of financing would you consider supporting? Are you okay with that? Should I repeat that for you?
Got it. I
You got it?
Thank-
Okay,
Appreciate that.
all right.
We actually have 7.1 million deficit in our general fund right now. We are using our reserves to promote, to fund our capital improvement projects. I think we need to definitely prioritize our critical projects that ensure public safety and infrastructure integrity. What can we do? We need to pursue state and federal grants. We need to boost our business engagement. We need to conduct a comprehensive review of our expenditure. We need to streamline our operations within the city departments to enhance efficiency and reduce costs. We need to develop a comprehensive financial plan to achieve fiscal stability by 2028. Because by implementing some of these strategies, I think Burlingame can work towards stabilizing its budget while maintaining essential services for residents. So private and public funding is really important to support some of these projects that we are undertaking.
Thank you.
I think I understand the question. It's about moving the city hall.
I'll repeat it for you. Would you like me to?
I think I know what the question,
Okay.
I understand. I really understand that our city hall it's not by choice that we need to move. I think by safety. I think our city hall building is very old. I don't want to get into the issues that we have. And I think to fix the issues will cost more than building a new place. I think for the safety of our staff and council and everyone, we should look into moving. But of course, it has to be done fiscally well done and studied. In the meantime, we need to look at revenues for the city and bringing more companies. We do get allocation from new businesses and companies that come into Burlingame, and these allocations could be put toward building our new city hall plus the reserve that we have without having to get the resident affected with their taxes.
Thank you. Rachel?
Okay. My house was built in 1940s. And was it unsafe to live? Maybe. But I think there's a lot of way to work around how to make the city hall brand new again. So I am actually really looking, I like to look into for the third party to do the research to see what's more beneficial economically and to see if we can just refresh our current city hall instead of build a brand new one, spend another $60–70 million.
Okay, thank you. Desiree?
So I believe the question was in regard to general obligation bonds and what some other options would be to fund a city hall. So I think we don't need to do a general obligation bond to fund city hall. Another option would be to use the Surplus Land Act. So this would be a way for us to sell some city land, perhaps some of the parking structures. And then that could be used for workforce housing, and the revenue that the city gets from that could be used for City Hall. And I believe this is something that consultants are actually looking at with city staff to see how feasible this is. Another option, although I don't know how great it is, but they just asked for options, is to increase our transient occupancy tax. So currently that's our hotel tax. It's 2% lower than a lot of our neighboring cities. So an option could be to look at if we could raise that 2% and earmark that for City Hall, that could be another source of funding.
Thank you. I'm going to take another question from the audience. And Hadia, I'll start with you. We are the city of trees. So many have recently been removed. What are your thoughts about the removal?
I'm on a beautification commission and I work very closely with our arborists. I know how everybody feels. I was shocked myself to see these trees. I am all for trees. That's why I'm on this commission. I'm a landscaping designer, and as you know, I've done a lot of planting in Burlingame, and I want to preserve a tree. I'll do the best I can to preserve a tree. But the trees are being removed because there's been a study about how they're going tree by tree if they are going to fall in the next storm. The roots are shallow. So there is a plan and there's a project to replace them. The land is not owned only by the city. We've got the PUC, you've got Caltrans, and you've got the city, and we're working very hard to get permission from PUC to plant. They're not allowing us right now to plant. I do have an idea of what will go there. It's going to be something very that has shade, that has safe. I'm looking into safety, and it's going to be better than what we have. I'm very passionate about the growth that we have, and it hurts me to see it go, but definitely we will replace it.
Thank you. Rachel?
Okay. So trees, we all love trees. We are a city of trees. There's a plan, just like Hadia said, but also I think the trees also on private property. Some people are removing it without authorization. So if the tree is removed for any reason, and there should be 3 to 5 trees need to be replanted. So that's how we can keep up with our city of trees.
Thank you. Desiree?
Yeah, I was sad to see that a lot of the trees that fell down a couple of years ago when we had those high winds. I mean, there were dozens that fell down out by the baseball fields where I run on the Bay Trail, and I saw them all down. There's a lot on California that have been taken down as well, and it is really sad to see them go. But for safety reasons, unfortunately, if they hadn't fallen down already and they were not healthy trees, they had to come down. The other thing that's going to be sad for a lot of people to see is the trees come down on El Camino Real. I know a lot of people aren't aware, but it's something that again has to come down for safety reasons in order for us to revamp that street. And I want everyone to know, though, that the city worked very hard with Caltrans on that to ensure that the plantings that are done are more dense than Caltrans would usually do in order to preserve that canopy, so that hopefully in 10, 20 years, we'll have another canopy that will be beautiful on El Camino. But it's been unfortunate years. We've lost a lot of trees, and we have a few more that are coming down, but the city's working hard on that.
Thank you. Did we cycle through? No, Nirmal is next. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I love Burlingame because of, city of trees, beautiful trees, and all my friends who come from India, everywhere, they say, oh my God, this place is amazing. And we want to keep it that way, but, of course, safety is also important. Some of those trees are hundreds of years old, and then they fell, and then we have a, heritage tree ordinance in place, and this heritage, protects. It's illegal to harm distinctive trees without a permit, and which is really good. And also they need, the residents need permit requirements to remove trees. But let me tell you something, people who live on California Drive towards on the west side, close to BHS, they're all really frustrated because all the trees are cut down at BHS. And now all the view they have is train tracks. And who knows when this great separation project will happen, when they're going to plant all those trees, Caltrans. So all these residents who enjoyed all those trees, their view is taken away from them. And I really hope the city arborist works with the residents to plant the right trees and do it soon.
Thank you. Okay, next question will be directed to Rachel. The city has instituted a more permanent parklet program. What changes, if any, do you think should be made?
There's a lot of people actually decide not to go with the parklet because they can also utilize the streets to have some seatings. And I believe the parklet it's great for business, but at the same time, it's a blocking of views and taking away our parkings. So some business actually don't mind not to have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Desiree?
So, oh wait.
Thank you. Thank you.
Clock's ready. So I'm actually really proud of the work the city council did on the parklets, and it's something I paid close attention to. They basically put in regulations now so that the parklets are safer and they're cleaner. So there's very specific designs that need to be followed, and they're getting rid of the roofs to enable neighboring business that are not restaurants to have a view from the street, because that was one complaint of the store owners, is that their storefront couldn't be seen. So they're taking the roofs off. They're now only allowed to be in front of their own storefront. They can't encroach on others. They've put in place safety measures, like being able to get to manholes underneath. A lot of good has come out of that to enable us to keep the parklets, but make sure they're safe for everyone. The one thing I think they could have done differently is they could have offered these parklets to new restaurants as well. They only allowed restaurants who had parklets to renew under the new rules. And I think it would have been fairer to allow all businesses.
Thank you. Nirmala?
Because of the COVID, these parklets came into existence, and it's a good thing. It's good for the businesses to be able to have people sit outside. But the sad part is now they've increased the fees, so not all businesses can afford it. And also they have to take them out. People have spent, I spoke with some of the businesses, they've spent $20,000 to build these parklets. Now they have to take them away. And then the restrictions are so hard that they can't have a roof, and they have to allow the parklets to be open in the night. So anybody can use it, residents or anybody who wants to use it. Imagine that if you're a business owner, you have a parklet, and then you leave it in the night, and what would happen? It could be a place for homeless people, or who knows, what if it rains in the evening, and if you don't have a roof, what is going to happen to the parklet? I think these are some of the things that business owners have expressed their concerns to me while I was knocking on the businesses to understand what are some of the issues they are facing. So
Thank you. Hadia?
I think the parklets are great. They're beautiful. I love them, but I don't at the same time, but I do. During the pandemic, they were great help, but I love the new plan for the new parklet because we need safety. They were not safe. We had one fall in front of El Fornayo, a car hit it, the next day it collapsed. Thank God nobody was there. So safety was the main reason why our council, I'm on the Economic Development Subcommittee meeting, every meeting I don't miss. And I was also asked my opinion on what I think, and I was part of the project. They're uniform, they don't encroach on their neighbors. I'm a business owner myself, and I have a beautiful garden and a beautiful front. I do not want my parklet covering my business. Therefore, I think they're done fairly and beautifully and safely, and that was and clean. There's the structure of them now, they're much cleaner underneath, so no garbage or anything else, I don't have to mention, is collected. So they're gonna be beautiful, and we are going to have a little bit of height to them for wind, glass.
Thank you. Next question. Let's see. Did I start with Rachel? I did, and we went around. So I'm going to start with Desiree. All right. I'm just selecting one here. Give me a moment. What is your perspective on the upcoming Caltrans El Camino Real renewal project?
So I'm looking forward to the end product of the El Camino Real project, but it's going to be painful when it happens. I mean, quite honestly, it's going to be a major disruption to our city, right? The whole length of El Camino from our Millbrae border down to San Mateo is going to be redone. And so, we need to actually let residents know. There's a lot of people when I've been door knocking who are not aware that this is coming, but it's sorely needed. We don't need the flooding anymore. We don't need the tree roots. We need to have ADA accessibility on the sidewalks. All the utilities will be undergrounded, which will help again with high winds that we're seeing due to climate change. And there'll be better visibility because the way the trees are going to be planted in the type, and once they're grown, will allow us to be able to see out as we're turning onto El Camino from side streets. So I'm really looking forward to what it's going to look like, although it's going to take 10 or 20 years for the trees to grow in, but it's going to make it much easier for people to go down El Camino Real.
Thank you. Rachel?
Okay. I think the traffic's definitely going to be worse before it will get better. So it is like growing pain. What we have to go to do is, I believe we need to work on control the side street traffic and the speed, because the speed is crazy. People do drive 35, 40 on my street. I live on Chula Vista, so I'm sure we all live in the neighborhood. So I think that controlling the speed and do a detour, the detour most likely, again, is gonna come back to California Drive. And maybe if we can have some alternative public transportation.
Thank you. Hadia?
This touches home. I live on El Camino and I know the struggles of El Camino and I'm very passionate on working on this project. I can't wait till it starts. I know it's going to take a long time. It's very disruptive. As with my experience with my business, I'm passionate and I like to take a project and stay on it. And if it's done, I will negotiate to make things go faster between PG&E and Caltrans. I want to be on Caltrans task force. I will propose also on the new project, not having a left turn on every street, which causes congestion, to have like Van Ness, a traffic light, an arrow that directs you, make the sidewalks ADA compliant, and also the intersection that don't have traffic lights that are so unsafe by McKinley, for example, or there's also many, I could name so many. So I'm very passionate about El Camino. I'd like to propose portable generators for the disruption of the electricity for each neighborhood. We can have it transported from one section to another. So this way people are not without electricity.
Thank you. Nirmala?
Yeah, I mean, I just thinking about it, you know, the El Camino project is going to bring a lot of stress to a lot of people because of the traffic congestion. But the project will also help with the flooding, with the, you know, improve the visibility and upgrade the pedestrian infrastructure and meet the ADA compliance. And those are all good things. But again, you know, we will have to sustain that. The most important thing is educational awareness. I would love to see, if I'm a city council, I will have a meeting and tell the city citizens, members of the public, what's happening, and week by week, give them, you know, messaging. You know, this is what is happening this week. This is what we have done. You know, give them the progress that we are making so that we keep them informed. You know, so everybody has to take a meal break. You know, instead of going, if you are going north or south. So we really need to plan. And and citizens, we all do it together as a community. And so it's very important. The communication is the key to have the successful project in El Camino, and I can do it.
Thank you. I'm going to take a question from the audience, and it's rather lengthy, so please bear with me. I haven't had a chance to really practice reading this one, so I'll go kind of slow. While it's laudable to volunteer for our community, leading a city demands more than volunteerism. It demands financial savvy, the ability to read and discern budgets, knowledge of labor groups and negotiations, deal-making skills. Some of you come to this election without these skills. What have you done specifically to be able to hit the ground running on finance, labor, budget, etc., for the issues facing our city? And how do you plan to get the technical skills of being a city leader that you may not possess right now? Should I read that again?
Yes.
Let's see. I started with, you're gonna have to help me here. It's a memory thing again. Who am I starting with? Let's see.
No.
Nirmala, Nadia, I'm starting with Nadia. Hadia. Who did I say? Not. Okay. So I put them together. Hadia. You put Hadia and Nirmala together, and that's what you get.
I like you.
I know you do.
Let it stay down. What qualifies me to be on council? I have been a business owner in Burlingame for over 25 years and a beautification commissioner for 2 years. Being a business owner had taught me to work with tight budget and I'm a great negotiator and work with all kinds of different people. Also, since being on the beautification commission, I have worked closely with all the councils, city engineers, city staff, mayor. I have attended every council meeting and I have already worked personally on several projects For example, the rodents behind all the restaurants on Hutch Lane, that was volunteer for 2 years on my own, just because when I see something, I want to fix it. I report cracked sidewalks to code enforcement, weeds in the city. I've cleaned out the city from weeds on my own. I enjoy it. I walk downtown Burlingame and I see, because I think if there's a crack in a sidewalk, someone can fall a trip and the family cannot eat anymore. You never know. So I believe.
Thank you, Hadia. Nirmala.
Though I haven't managed the city budget, but let me tell you, I worked on all these companies like Genentech, Meta, and Kaiser. Let me talk about Kaiser. Kaiser, I was a program manager managing a $70 million project budget to, for the Office 365 implementation end to end. So imagine that. So managing the $70 million is a lot of money. And so what does you need for that? You need the financial management background on which I got it from Berkeley, and then economic, and setting and the cash management. How do you negotiate? I worked with the different departments to prioritize what projects need to be done. What is important, as I talked about, right? What is the ROI? These are the things that you need to think about as a city council member. How does it benefit our city? When you do partnerships, yes, I do negotiate because we have to do SOWs when we work with vendors, paying them millions of dollars for buying software applications. So I have developed those negotiation skills and I can bring them to the table. I've hired many people to work on the project. So I need the people skills to hire the right people. So I have done all of this and I think it is just a real transition.
Thank you, Nirmala. Thank you. Desiree?
So regarding finance and budget, there's a few things I've been doing. And this is one of the reasons actually why I've been attending city council meetings regularly for the past 2 years, is really to inform myself about what is the budget, how has that been changing each year, and how has it been changing since COVID, because there's actually been a lot of changes in the way the revenue has come in. I've also been attending the board meetings at Peninsula Clean Energy. As you can imagine, Peninsula Clean Energy also has a large budget. They purchase all the electricity for the entire county. And this has been a way for me, again, to see how a large entity manages their budget, sees the revenue coming in and the expenses going out, and prioritizes those. Regarding labor, I have the endorsement of the San Mateo County Labor Council, and I've pledged to work with them. They're a great resource. Their expertise is labor, and they represent all 99 unions in the county. And so that's a resource that I will lean on. And as far as deal making, this is actually what I do in my day job. I work in business development and alliance management.
Thank you. Rachel?
Prior to real estate, I was the hotel department head at the Hyatt Regency San Francisco Airport. So I manage my department, and I actually won an award for keeping the budget under, keeping everything under budget. So I also own my own business, so I need to make sure the financial is sound and good. I'm able to read the financial budget. I'm a great negotiator. I collaborate with others, and I also listen to the needs of the staff and the people.
Thank you. We will now get ready to hear our closing statements, and I'm going to remind the candidates it's 2 minutes for each closing statement. And I'll go ahead and begin with alphabetical order again. So Nirmala, you'll be first up with the closing statement. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me today and letting me share my views. As I expressed earlier, I bring a unique perspective with experience working in scientific research, private sector, as well as experience in city government. I'm not just talking about my hope and dream, but tangible results, such as getting crossing guard on El Camino and Ray Drive, streamlining IT for Burlingame Community for Education, streamlining systems, business processes, and managing programs at companies I worked at, streamlining the hearing procedures for the Planning Commission, hosting National Night Out and connecting community and police for many years, hosting emergency preparedness drill for enhancing community resilience and response capabilities during crisis for many years. I'm not looking at the city council position as a job, but as a calling, a service above self, a challenge, responsibility, an obligation to give back to the community and improve the quality of life of our residents that I dearly love. This campaign is not about me, it's about us. The future we want to build together. I firmly believe that when we see the people for who they are, meet people where they are, and attend to representation of all the unique folks who reside in this beautiful community, we truly foster a stronger, healthier, more compassionate community, an exemplary community that will propel all of us forward. Let's create a brighter, more inclusive tomorrow for Burlingame, where every person feels valued and every dream has a chance to flourish. Together, we will build a future that honors our past, embraces our diversity, and paves the way for generation to come. I'm a vote for balancing growth with the resident needs, and I would be honored to have your vote in the upcoming November election. And my campaign is a grassroots campaign fueled by almost 400 people running with me to support me.
Thank you, Nirmala. Hadia?
Why am I running and why I want to be in council? I want to make Burlingame safe, clean, and beautiful. That's all. I not only feel passionate, but I also feel prepared because of the past 2 years, I have worked closely with all the city councils. I have been part of many decisions and have attended every council meeting. These 2 years have taught me that I have what it takes to run this city efficiently and compassionately. I look forward to being the voice of reason and the voice of all Burlingame residents. Thank you again for being here tonight. Let's work together to make our city the best it can be. The future is bright, and with your vote for me, there's no limit to what I can achieve and what we can achieve together. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Hadia. Rachel?
First, I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight. And I am honored by the support I've received from local businesses, neighbors, and friends who believed in me. Running for city council is not a stepping stone in my career. It's about the stepping up for my community. I may not be endorsed by the high-profile officials, but I'm running with the support of small business owners, workers, neighbors, and friends who care deeply about our shared future. I don't make empty promises. What I pledge is I would always try my best to find a realistic, practical solutions that benefit our community. I'll listen to you, act on your concern, and work for what we all value: safety, housing, infrastructure, local businesses, and an inclusive community. We need a leader who are connected with the community, who understand the challenges we face, who are ready to step up and serve. I'm that guy. What drives me is not the pursuit of a title, but the passion of making Burlingame a better place for all of us. I'm asking for your vote and your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Desiree?
Thank you again for attending this forum. I'd like to leave you with one thought. There are a lot of changes coming to District 2, and we deserve a city council member who will manage these changes with a broad perspective to serve all. One change is the apartment homes being built on North Rollins. As a welcoming city, we have the responsibility to embed resources and services for the residents in this new neighborhood. These are not just units that we can check off from our state mandated new housing. These are homes with people who are our neighbors. These neighbors deserve to have a sense of inclusion and belonging in Burlingame, of being a part of the community vibrancy that so many of us love. Another change in District 2 is the new office and biospace buildings on Old Bayshore. This development can revitalize the Bayfront while also providing community benefits. We need a city council member who will ensure Bayfront development provides economic vibrancy while improving the public recreation space on the Bay Trail, protecting the Bay ecosystem, and improving our adaptation to sea level rise. The Broadway specific plan is another change that will come to District 2. Broadway is uniquely different from Burlingame Avenue. And we need a city council member who will work with residents, business owners, and building owners to develop a plan that supports local businesses and enhances community gathering. The other changes coming to Burlingame and District 2 are unknown. Who would have guessed 4 years ago that we'd have a global pandemic, record winds with trees falling down, and flooding on Burlingame Avenue? All of these changes in Burlingame require someone to work hard and fully understand the issues. I will roll up my sleeves and dig in to solve problems. You can count on me to listen, figure out how we need to work together, and work to improve our community. There are a lot of changes coming to District 2, and we deserve a city council member who will manage these changes with broad perspective to serve all. With your vote, I will take on this service to the community.
Thank you, Desiree. May we have a round of applause for our ladies tonight. I have a closing, Mark at the mic has a closing statement, if you don't mind. I'd like to thank the audience for coming. I'm very surprised and pleased to see such a great turnout this evening. I didn't know what to expect, but this is really great for our ladies to support these women. Thank you for the questions that were submitted. They were great questions, and I'm glad we were able to use all of them. And to the ladies, I'm going to direct this. And I think thank you all for being on my show last week. I was able to interview each one of you individually, and it was great. I feel like I know you all so much better. In November, there's only going to be one winner, right? But none of you are losers. Okay, you have done a great job and worked hard to do this, and keep up the great work. So with that, I'll turn it over to Megan. And if anybody comes up here, just be careful of all the wires we have all over here so we don't want any slip and falls. But Megan, go ahead. Thank you.
That's it. We're all done.
It's a wrap. Thanks, Carol.